pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes to the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, no presentations, proclamations, or acknowledgements. Anybody here for public comment on anything that's not on the agenda? Seeing none. Anything on the consent agenda that anybody needs to discuss? No?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No public hearings. General business. If you guys see that there's the cannabis, I requested that be on there just so we make sure that we are, as a council, are on the same page. That's why it's on there, not under consent. So, if there's any discussion on it further, or are we all in agreement? Yeah? Yes?
Are you going there first?
No. Yeah, I suppose I jumped ahead, sorry.
Oh, no problem. Christmas Pines, Renee has a brief presentation on that topic. And then Brandon can speak to the cannabis topic.
Okay.
Again, this is a discussion about the housing styles within the Christmas Pines development. Just a little history for everybody that wasn't here in 2017, that when the development was approved. There were 20 detached townhome units approved on the property. The developer at the time was, development company was represented by Gary Tupy. It's a very small lot, it had access limitations. It had originally been zoned commercial. It was rezoned at this time to residential, and he asked for PUD approval to allow us quite a bit smaller lot than we allowed at the time. The lots are 40 feet wide. Single-family detached home was planned in the development. Get my notes here. Again, you can see by this slide, the minimum lot size at the time was 7,200 square feet, and the lots in Christmas Pines range between 3,100, 3,900 square feet. Also reduced setbacks and just lot width in general, and also deviations from our garage size requirements. At the time, the development was proposed with these kind of small slab-on-grade cottages that were two-bedroom. They were all going to be the same, 1,250 square feet. This is what was presented. This was what was in the record, and the approvals just basically said that the homes all had to be look the same in the development. In 2022, fast forward, the development was constructed. There was, I think, only one home constructed. There's quite a few years that it went without any home construction. In 2022, the developer approached the city with new home styles within the development, and it was referred to the Planning Commission and City Council because of the difference of housing style, and not only that, but just the increase in square footage of the homes overall. With that original home being presented at 1,250 square feet, staff's opinion was that part of the city's approval of that small lot was based on the fact that the small homes were proposed on those lots. So they came in with 3 new home plans for consideration by the city, ranging 2 split entry plans, a 2,700 square foot plan, 2,000 square foot plan, and then a 2-story plan that was about 1,800 square feet. And these are visuals of the homes. On the northerly block that backs up to County Road 2, there's a single 2-story home that exists there today, and on the other blocks, the split entry homes have been constructed. During the 2002 review, it was represented that all the blocks would have like the same style of housing. So there's multiple different little blocks in the development. So at this time, where the two-story home sits on that particular block that backs up to two, the one two-story that's there, they're now requesting to put a mix of the housing styles. So still sticking with these three housing styles in the development, but allowing a deviation from the two-story on that north block. This is how the block lays out. Again, you can see the ones that are more oriented east-west are the split entries, and the one here along County Road 2. The aerial photo is old. There's been quite a bit of interest. I mean, in the last 12 months, I would say there's been quite a few homes started there. All the split entry, and I think they're all the Cypress model, which is the larger, the 2,700 square foot model. These are just the visuals of the two that are actually constructed. So this is the two-story home, just a picture off Google Maps, and this is the front split entry, back of the two-story, back of the split entry. The Planning Commission did review the request also at their April meeting, and they recommended approval of mixing the housing styles within the development. Ashley Tupy is here, or Tupy Rickert is here if you have any questions for her. And at this time, the City Council is being asked to provide direction to staff regarding the housing styles.
As long as the boxes are checked, I think everybody's in agreement.
And if the planning commission thinks it's fine, then I go with what the planning commission has said, and I'm okay with it.
Agreed.
Okay.
Same here.
You need a
Okay.
motion then, Renee?
I don't think we need a motion. I mean, you can put it in a motion, I guess.
I think it might be helpful since it's actually technically interpreting the PUD. It might be good to have an official action.
Are you looking for any amendments to the plan?
No, the PUD says that the facades generally have to match. So everybody's now making an opinion that what's presented here generally matches.
I would agree a motion would be good.
Okay.
for
Make,
regarding the interpretation of the
yeah.
PUD.
Get a motion to approve the housing design as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay, mix and match.
All right. So we move on to cannabis? Or are you going to speak to it? Is somebody going to speak to it? No? Okay. Okay. Cannabis. Cannabis.
All right, so tonight on general business, I'm just asking the council to adopt ordinance 325, amending the cannabis retail registration, and 326, amending the schedule of fees. So the long and short of it is when someone applies to the state for a license for cannabis and they get accepted, the next step is then for them to register with the city. So during that process of me creating a registration form, I realized that we didn't have the exact correct prices based on state statute for application fees. So this is two ordinances correcting those things, essentially, and putting in place a registration system for us.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance 325 or 326?
can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Do we have to, I'm just curious, why does cannabis get to be cheaper than businesses that have alcohol?
I don't know, but I did max it out based on,
So that is the max that you can go, you can't go any higher?
Correct.
yep.
Okay.
Talk to your legislators.
Yep.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 325 and 326 as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Includes general business. Reports. Administration.
First quarter financial report, it's first quarter. It's usually pretty boring. As you look, I mean, we've only received like 1% of our revenues because most of our revenues, half our revenues come in June of each year with our property tax settlement. We're still early in the year, so there's not a lot that's typically going to show up of note. I did run a year-to-date budget report. Actually had Kelly run it for me, but took a look at it. We are running ahead of budget in the general fund, meaning under budget, but as you guys can probably guess, that's primarily due to the 3 vacant positions that we have, so we're saving on salary and benefits for those positions. Any questions? Next item is food truck sales on city property. So at the last meeting, which unfortunately I had to dash out of shortly before it started, the council had directed that they would allow food truck operations on city properties, specifically not at City Hall. But there, I think, given that direction, there are some additional questions that we have for council to kind of provide a box to be able, for staff to be able to administrate that. To make it easier for council discussion, we made suggestions on what that box should look like. A couple of things I should point out is obviously not at City Hall because of the nature of activities, et cetera. We're also, one of the things that wasn't discussed is that we own probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the parking lot at the library building. Same issue, you have resident parking, event parking at the library, so we're recommending that we don't allow it there. Staff is recommending, just to be clear, we're not limiting the amount of time that food trucks can park on city property or number of days they can operate to be any more restrictive than the ordinance. We are also recommending that it's a first come, first served type of situation. If you come in and nobody else has claimed that spot for those days, it's all yours. We would recommend that the timing for it reflect what we provide for in residential districts. Since there was really no discussion and there's no indication that the council thought to do so, we wanted to clarify that the city would not be charging for the use of our lots. So they're available for use. The last item was the Wagner Park parking lot, that trucks not be allowed to park there when somebody has rented the pavilion, because they're assuming that when they rent the pavilion, they're also getting the parking to go with it for their event. So this would be only with the pavilion. If there's things at the ballparks, like there's ball games and stuff, that would be fine. They typically don't generate enough parking to eat up all the parking in the parking lots. But when somebody rents an event, we can't predict ahead of time what the parking demand is going to be, and that person paid for it and they're entitled to have full use of the parking. So we're recommending that it not be permitted when somebody has rented the pavilion. And then anything I missed in here. So we're looking for direction from the council to bless it, tweak it, throw it all out.
I'm okay with blessing it.
The only thing that comes to mind is if somebody rents the pavilion, and they bring a food truck.
That's part of their event. Yep, that's part of their event.
Yeah, so
No changes from me.
Okay, so,
A question.
Yep.
Would you have them sign something similar to other permits for use of city property areas that have like the indemnification, provisions and that sort of thing?
we hadn't had that discussion yet, which is that something that you would recommend?
Yes.
Okay, so do we have approval from the council to develop such form?
like liability
Waiver?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
If someone rents the pavilion and the food trucks, they can just kind of, they don't have to have anything from the city that says I can come and sit here and sell or do whatever? Is that correct? It's like on a normal day, this is approved, a truck could pull down the Wagner Park and sell stuff, correct?
Unless the pavilion's rented. If
So how would they know if the pavilion's rented?
there's an activity at the pavilion.
And then who tells them if there's a conflict or an issue that the
Well, they have to get permission, they have to get written permission from the city to be on city property. So we will check ahead of time whether or not it's permitted.
So there's a mechanism where they would know that there's someone renting and they should go to Wagner Park then?
Correct, so if we have, let's say, an officer rolling through and somebody's down there, they should have written documentation, but we'll communicate to the department that food truck parking has been permitted this location, this day for that vendor.
Okay.
we're good.
Public Works? Anybody speak on that?
Nothing.
Police? Chief?
All good.
Fire? Chief?
I don't know, can you?
Just a couple things. Basically, the CPR stuff, I don't know if you guys all got that. So we're gonna be setting up, getting our own instructors and putting on a CPR course for anybody in our fire district area. It will be free for them. So Niagara is flipping the bill for us. They're donating $5,000 towards it to put to this program for us, which is a pretty good deal. Other than that, it's been a busy year, a lot of grass fires. I don't know, I got some other.
EMT training?
What's that?
EMT training?
Yeah, so I talked to Tom about that the other day. We're looking into, we got, I think, 5 or 6 guys that wanna expand, go to school become EMTs. So we're looking into that right now. We got some pricing on it. They would go to school next February, March. So that would give us some more guys with a little higher training on that deal. Our new squad should be here, it looks like the end of June. So, which I don't know if you guys all know, that was paid for by gambling. That didn't cost taxpayers anything, so win-win for you guys. Other than that, I don't know. That's about it.
So we are looking for the blessing from the council for the CPR program, because there are, while we believe all of the costs, both capital and operational, be covered between Niagara and the fire relief, it will have an impact on the budget on actual expenditures and actual revenues. And if those funding sources go away or don't come through, we'll have to pick up the difference. So we want to make sure the council is okay with it before we buy stuff.
And it's
forward.
pretty minimal at the end. It's basically come down to paying for our trainers when they train. So we will send our guys, we have 1 trainer now, and we're gonna add 3 more, so we'd have 4. So
So the trainers, how are they gonna be compensated for the time?
that's where we come up, that's where the extra money would be. So
Yeah.
we haven't figured that, we haven't
So-
got that nailed down yet.
Yeah, is my intent, they would be paid for call time for the number of hours, at the same rate they're paid for call, for doing it.
Are you offering this as a free service to members of
Yes,
the
for
community?
people in our fire district. And
Wow,
and businesses that have employees in our fire district.
wow.
So, and then if we go out from there, me and Tom kind of talked that we would charge a fee to that, and we don't know where that's at yet at this point, but.
We're gonna start small, because we, you know, there's always the initial demand, and we don't know what the total demand is gonna be, and we may have fluctuation over time with regards to number of trainers and trainer availability. But this is so great, because we have, a corporate citizen that's going to invest in the capital, you know, the mannequins and all of that. And then we have, the fire relief is basically set as part of their annual donation, just peel off a portion of that to cover the operating expenses for the program as out of their gambling donation every year. And that allows us to offer it at no charge. One of the things we have talked about, and in conversations with council members, you've raised it too, is the issue of, well, if it's free, sometimes people schedule, we're gonna have 35 people and 8 show up and that sort of thing. If we start having those problems, then we may start making people pay just to make sure that it has enough value that we get regular attendance. But the intent was to provide this at no cost to the community initially, so that's the intent.
I think it's a great idea. It's fantastic.
I think there's a lot
agree.
of people that have asked in the past, is kind of why we're doing it, so.
It's wonderful. I approve it.
Absolutely. You need anything more from us?
No, we're not amending we don't have to amend the budget, or not amending the budget, so, it's more just making sure that the council is aware of it and that it will show up as a budget item for the 2026 budget, both on the revenue and expenditure side.
Is there a forecasted day 1 start that would,
No,
or that's still
basically,
too early to tell?
Yeah, maybe July, August is kind of what we talked about, so.
Oh, okay.
We still have to order all the mannequins and get all that stuff here, so I'm assuming
We'll have to advertise it, we'll have to set up a sign-up process and forms and all of that, and we want to make sure that's tight before we move forward, but the goal was beginning of July.
Yeah, and then we gotta get the other three in to get their training done. It's called train to trainer. So we'll
Right.
send them 3 off and get that. Like I said, we got one, he's good until November.
Yeah, even that you say it's July, it's sooner than I would have thought. But yeah,
And it might not be, but that's the goal.
That's our goal.
yeah, okay,
That's wonderful.
Other than that, that's all I got.
excellent, thank you.
Thanks. See you guys.
Engineering. Your turn.
I'd be happy to answer any questions in my written report. In your packets.
We have a planning commission meeting coming up next week. We have a couple of public hearings on the agenda that I think will generate some interest. One of the developments, you reviewed a concept plan late last winter or early, either December or January. And the developer, Tamarack, conducted an open house last night. You received some emails this morning with some comments, so we'll include those comments for the planning commission as well. And if you have any questions or anything?
Will you guys be responding to those emails at some point, or do you want us to?
I just want, basically, I think I was going to acknowledge receipt of the emails. I think they were directed to you more than me, but when I get the planning commission packet out,
Should we let the planning commission handle it first before we
yeah,
add anything? Let them
right.
field it first, because there's like,
Are the emails that we got, are they people who would have got the notice for the public hearing?
They did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the
feel like
case,
that
we have an
just
active
Short.
land use application. And so for council members at this point in the process to express any sort of opinion on it violates due process and could expose the city to liability and lawsuit. City attorney can correct me on that if I'm incorrect. So you can listen, you can acknowledge receipt, but because it's active and in process, you guys really can't respond with any opinion towards the application until it gets to you at a public meeting.
So I'll respond acknowledging receipt of the emails and let them know that their comments will be included in the planning commission packet for their viewing. And we'll go from there.
perfect. All right, parks,
Nothing,
nothing.
no.
CCEC,
All right, so CCEC, they went through and talked about the egg hunt and what went well and what did not go well. And they ran out of candy bags, ran out of bags for the eggs, so that's on their agenda, hopefully to order more for next year. Did a fire rescue days update, talked through what's happening there. Their next meeting will be June 17th. I'm hoping that they get a better turnout. It was myself and Terry there with Jessica, and then Mike was on the phone until he strolled in. So it was kind of a low attendance meeting. Good thing there wasn't anything that had to be voted on because there wasn't a quorum. So, but
Did you want to give a fire rescue days update, Kate?
I sure can. So 11 o'clock, obviously the same parade route as last year. 11 to 4, we have, I think it's 9 food trucks this year?
I think it's
10?
10,
10 food trucks.
9 or 10.
The beer garden will be down in the pavilion this year. And the entire area, all the way down through the parking lot, will be roped off. The food trucks are going to be up on Park Street, along with picnic benches up there. We're bringing in a flatbed trailer for the band Fender Bender to be on, that will go on the east ball field. Ninja Warrior Anywhere will be on the west ball field. And then in the middle, Elko New Market Chamber of Commerce is doing a beanbag tournament. We have about 25 vendors right now ready to rock and roll that will each this year have a square, and that's where they're going to be so that it's laid out a little bit nicer, hoping and praying for better weather. The pedal pole will be up on the hill on Park Street, so that hopefully they get a little bit better traction. The antique fire, did I already say it? Antique fire trucks will be down in the parking lot. They do have a question, can they fill up at least at a fire hydrant so when they go to the park, the kids can play with the water?
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll work with, I will have Corey, coordinate with McNulty on
Okay.
that, if there's a location.
Okay,
I think it'll be a timing issue with the end of the parade before they get down there, so they'll actually have to fill up before the parade.
right,
But we have, we'll find a spot,
okay.
so.
We have, I don't even know how many bouncy stuff we have. We have more than last year coming this year. So it should be good. I mean, it's just gotten bigger and better, and we've had an additional 6,000 in donations. So thank you to all of our people who have donated. It's fantastic to help us. The Speedway obviously will have an event night on Saturday night. Thursday night will be Family Fun Night, which is a foam party. Friday night is the Lion Steak Fry and wrestling. Sunday is the Boy Scout Pancake Breakfast and also a beanbag tournament at Double Wide. And we're still waiting to hear from Gordon about the services down at Wagner on Sunday. So I don't think I'm skipping anything. I think I got it all.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
Wrestling. Sorry, that's how Josh says it. Wrestling.
Jason's
Hey, can I ask a
favorite.
question? How many food trucks, do you know how many food trucks were there last year?
4 or 5.
2, 3, 5.
Okay, and they were pretty busy, I heard?
They were very busy. That's why we needed to bring more in, because then you're not waiting so long. Yep. Yeah. So, and I guess one of the vendors is a cotton candy person, so that'll be kind of fun.
Oh, she was there last year.
Yeah.
The she gives you cotton candy. It's like this big. I was like, we don't need that much, but thank you.
Oh, and it's only from like 11 to 4, so we're not going till 6 o'clock this year because it kind of
Yeah.
fizzled out last year, so only going till 4 o'clock. Okay, that's all I got.
Anything from Snail? Under other?
RTF is probably the big one. We had a committee meeting today with representatives from the agencies that are still at the table for the regional training facilities. You guys know from previous reports that Shakopee and Savage are out. The challenge we're running into is that, and this is a generalization, but the larger agencies are looking for more facilities at the RTF than the smaller agencies are. The expectations are different. But that, obviously, there's a big cost difference between those options. And that translates into everybody's share. The other thing everybody's coming to the reality of is, given our current formula approach, when you have 2 of the larger agencies leave, it changes the mix. And what the change tends to do is it tends to lower the cost for the remaining larger agencies and increase the cost for the smaller agencies. It's just the nature of the formula. The biggest issue we're having right now is now trying to get everybody to reach some sort of a common understanding of what the vision or the options are for going back and discussing with their own agencies. These are the revised cost considerations and the options we're looking at now. A little frustration on my part and a couple of the other agencies is the level of communication between administration, elected officials, and the public safety departments and other members, organizations is not as good as it is here and some other agencies. And so you'll show up to meetings and you'll have people show up at this point in the process going, so what's going on? So, there's a little bit of work that still needs to be done, so. Nothing significant to report. A lot of the discussion was regarding upcoming meetings, specifically the legislative wrap-up meeting. That one is, from what I understand, is not going to be virtual, or is going to be encouraged not to be virtual, meaning that certain legislators who absolutely can't attend any other way, the idea is to get everybody there. So just keep that in mind, but I would highly recommend going. It's a good way to connect and both express appreciation, but also put pressure on our legislators to do the stuff we're asking them to.
Okay. Service delivery?
Nothing much new to report on that one. We canceled this month's meeting, so.
That's right. All right, I-35,
Nothing new.
nothing? All right, any discussion by council? No? All right, you get a motion to adjourn? Anyone?
No
motion.
Shave my legs for this?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.